This video is on how to use images that creators don't intend for you to use. One of the ways that we can do this is through fair use, and fair use is a limitation to those omnipotent rights of the creators that we mentioned earlier. There are 4 different parts to fair use. Those include purpose, nature, quantity, and value. A few of these aren't quite so relevant to images, and I'll mention those when we get there. For purpose, you want to ask yourself, for what purpose are you using the image? If you want to put it up on, for instance, a business website, that probably won't fly because that's for your own financial benefit, and that's presumably not why the artist made his or her creation. If you're using it for a non-published educational presentation for a class, that is perfectly fine. If you want to put that sort of presentation up online on your digital portfolio, that would mean that you were publishing it, and there are ways that you can do that even though it's technically not what the creator intended. We can help you through that if you were interested in doing that. For the nature, you want to ask yourself what the nature of the copyrighted work is. Keep in mind that there is a difference between fictional and non-fictional works. So fictional works include things like books, movies, games, plays, characters, etc. As you can see, that these include things that people have made up all on their own. So they are the definition of a creation, a fictional creation. For non-fictional works, these include things like published facts, scientific discoveries, and information important to human well-being. This sort of information is not quite so easily copyrightable because it's something that existed before someone discovered it. No one created this information. This isn't quite so relevant to images, but it's valuable information for copyrighted materials nonetheless. For quantity, you want to ask yourself, how much of the original creation are you using? Most creators give rules about how much is okay to use. 10% seems to be a common guideline, but really using as little as possible is the best way to go. This also isn't particularly relevant to images. However, if you would like to use music or movies on your digital portfolio that is published and not given a Creative Commons license or anything like that, be sure to contact one of us or a librarian as to how you should go about quantifying that information. For value, you want to ask yourself, how will your use impact the value of the original work? If your work is a direct substitute, that is bad. That's not a good thing. We want to change it up a little bit. This is probably the most important of the 4 factors to keep in mind. So this is a lot of information, and it can be kind of confusing to realize how you can follow all of these rules at the same time. One of the ways we can do that is through transformative use, and this is probably the best known way to utilize fair use policies. If you were commenting or ridiculing a copyrighted image or other piece of content, you were using it for a new derivative purpose. It's not a direct substitute of the original. The more derivative your use is, the better. So the more you can comment on it or change it up, the better it is legally. So the summary of this information is that even with these rules, using copyrighted images for your own published materials is kind of risky. Feel free to ask one of us tutors or a librarian about the best way to use an image if you plan to post it on your digital portfolio.